let's get to the mother effin' news. I'm sorry for being so excited, and my hand is sorry too because it hurts now. But I just want to express how excited I am to get into the news this week. Actually, my hand really hurts now. It's really starting to hurt, and I regret that. But that's okay, because I'll feel better once I start reading our first story. And that is arrested Florida Capitol rioter Kenneth Kelly thought he was breaking into the White House. There's a man named Kenneth Kelly, 58 years old, from Ocala, Florida. And he participated in the Capitol riots back on January 6th. And he sent a couple of text messages, apparently, to a relative. One of them read, and I quote, "Inside the White House via breaking in windows," alongside of an image that showed him in the U.S. Capitol building. Great. And another text messages that read, "Patriots stormed the White House, broke in while Senate was in session detonating Arizona. They were hiding under their desks, forced into recess. Patriots took back our Capitol today." It's kind of embarrassing, you know. You think if you were taking over a government building, you would know which government building you're taking over. It's okay now because I think he was arrested, yes? Okay, so he hasn't been prosecuted yet, but he's going to be. He faces charges of disorderly conduct in a restricted building, knowingly entering a restricted building, and violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Well, honestly, kind of feel bad for the guy. He seems kind of dumb. Our next story. Bumble blunder. Man allegedly boasts about Capitol riot on dating app is arrested. So there's a man named Robert Chapman. Yeah, Robert Chapman. And he participated in the January 6th Capitol riots also. And about a week later, he was on Bumble. He matched with somebody, and in order to try to impress them, Chapman bragged about breaking into the Capitol. This is their conversation. Robert Chapman said, "I did storm the Capitol. I made it all the way to Statuary Hall. Did an interview with Robert O'Mara of the Washington Post. Also did online interview with Jess Brevins of the Wall Street Journal." And then his match just says, "We are not a match." And Robert Chapman says, "I suppose not." And that's where it ends. Then the unnamed individual, his match, then called the police, and Robert Chapman was arrested. Wow. And apparently Chapman is not the only person to have been, implicated through these dating apps. Tons of people on Bumble, Tinder, and Match have all been caught, storming the Capitol because of messages they said on one of those apps. Guys, the first rule after you commit a crime is don't talk to anybody about the crime. Duh. Okay, well, it's fine. I'm glad, frankly. On to our next story. Agricultural Secretary says Biden isn't banning Americans from eating hamburgers. So like a week ago, Biden announced his plan to cut carbon emissions of the United States by 50% by the year 2030. And a little while afterwards, there was a news sort of source that read the headline, "How Biden's climate plan would limit you to eat just one burger a month, costs $3,500 a year per person in taxes, force you to spend $55,000 on an electric car, and crush American jobs." By the way, terrible headline. That's the worst headline I've ever read. It's not a headline, it's a head paragraph. But okay, the article cited a study done in January of 2020 by the University of Michigan Center for Sustainable Systems. And the study suggests how a 90% reduction in beef consumption could considerably reduce greenhouse emissions. So because of the study, the Daily Mail just assumed that Biden's climate proposal included banning meat, which, like, it doesn't. Very, very odd. But after the story ran, a whole bunch of people just lost their minds. Let's look into some of this. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a picture of the president on Twitter with a caption saying, "The Hamburglar." No hamburgers for thee, but just for me. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert tweeted, "Joe Biden's climate plan includes cutting 90% of red meat from our diets by 2030. They want to limit us to about 4 pounds a year. Why doesn't Joe stay out of my kitchen?" The USDA Secretary Tom Vislak, admitted that there's no active plan to limit meat consumption. He said, and I quote, "There's no desire, no effort, no press release, no policy paper, none of that would support the notion that the Biden administration is going to suggest that people eat less meat. Or the USDA has some program designed to reduce meat consumption. It's simply not the case." So there you go. Weird. Let's just move on to our next story because this is ridiculous. Gender reveal party using 80 pounds of explosives sets off earthquake reports. So there was a man in New Hampshire that had to turn himself into police after detonating explosives as part of a gender reveal party held in a quarry. Terrible place to held gender reveal party, wouldn't you say? To have any party in a quarry? Terrible, terrible idea. I guess not so terrible when you're having massive explosions. 80 pounds of explosions. When this explosion went off, it let off such a blast that it set off reports of earthquakes that could be felt across state lines. So the explosives that were used were 80 pounds of tannerite, which is typically sold as a counter. Sold over the counter as a target for firearms practice. And I believe usually it's sold usually in 1 pound blocks. So it's like the recommended dosage is 1 pound. This man uses 80 times that. Nearby residents to the explosion had pictures knocked off their walls and reported cracks in the foundations of their homes from their explosions, which sucks because that's like super expensive to fix and like significantly reduces property values and whatnot. All because of this jerk decided to use 80. This story is insane. Hey, I have an idea. Maybe don't use explosives. Don't have gender reveal parties. They're so stupid. And this isn't the first time that a gender reveal party has ended badly. Like, gender reveal parties have started deadly forest fires, and have set off explosions that have killed people with their shrapnel, like people attending their party. I think there's one story about a explosion that the shrapnel killed the father of the expected child. That just sucks. That sucks. Like, and what are you going to explain to the child that, oh, we were fooling around with explosives? It was your fault, Timmy, because it was your gender reveal party. And then the child's just crying. And apparently, this gender reveal explosion actually appears to have contaminated the town's water supply, like the nearby water supply. Residents nearby have their tap water all discolored It turned brown. Their water turned brown because of this gender explosion. So you have earthquake and poisoned the water supply because you wanted to play with explosives to like. It's mind-numbing. It's mind-blowing and numbing at the same time. I am ashamed to be a human on this planet. That might be a little extreme, but it's true. Our next article. North Carolina 12-year-old graduating high school, college in same week. So there's a boy named Mike Wimmer of Salisbury, North Carolina. And he said that he had some extra time because of the coronavirus pandemic. So he discovered that if he added just a couple of extra classes, he could graduate from both schools at the same time, completing the equivalent of 2 years of high school and 2 years of community college classes in a single year. How annoying. Am I right? Oh, this little kid is like, oh, I have just a little extra time. I'm gonna graduate from college. Yeah, and he graduated with a 4.0 GPA at the college and a 5.45 GPA in high school, earning him the role of class valedictorian. And now he has a associate's degree. And he said that his lifelong interest is in technology and robots, and that he wants to create his own startup, which aims to simplify how smart home technology works. Well, you know what? Good. At least he's doing something good. At least he's not doing something dumb. Police find reported COVID-19 violation was a mannequin. You guys know that whenever someone mistakes a mannequin for a real person, whenever there's a news story about it, I just gotta cover it. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's just my thing. I just find it humorous, you know? There was a restaurant named the Ardmore Tea Room in Nova Scotia, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and in around there, apparently there's a shutdown order, right? So you can't eat indoor at indoor dining facilities. Well, someone saw this person eating inside this restaurant and called the police. But when the police showed up, they realized it was just a mannequin. Hilarious, frankly. The classic misunderstanding, classic blunder, whatever you want to call it. I'm a little confused about this next article, but I'm still going to read it. Man arrested at airport after 35 birds intended for singing contests found in his clothing, officials say. Okay. So there's a lot to break down. So apparently there's a man, and he was caught. He was caught and charged with allegedly smuggling 35 live finches from Guyana to New York for singing contests. What is a singing contest? A singing contest for birds? Is that a thing? Okay, well, anyways, he was caught in, he flew to John F. Kennedy International Airport in New Mexico on Monday, where Customs and Border Protection officers pulled him aside for examination and found the birds stuffed inside hair rollers, sealed with perforated netting. Authorities said they were attached to the inside of Mackenzie's jacket as well as the tops of his shoes. I'm so confused. Wait, here it explains about singing contests. It says, and I quote, "In such contests, often conducted in public areas like parks, two finches sing and a judge select the birds determined to have the best voice. Many who have attended the singing contest wager on the birds. A finch who wins these competitions becomes valuable and can sell more than $10,000. Although certain species of finch are available in the United States, species from Guyana are believed to sing better and are therefore more valuable." Weird. Okay, let's move on. The hardest to me for comment on that article because there's just so much going on. McDonald's robber demands chicken nuggets, has to accept breakfast food because it was still too early. Apparently the suspect had to accept a McMuffin instead. This one's just sad. So there was this guy named Rudy Batten, and he pled guilty to robbing a McDonald's in February in England, right? So apparently, Batten claims to have had a gun and demanded money from the register and forced the manager to give him access to the store safe. And after he took the money, he demanded chicken nuggets. He's like, I'm already here. I'm already robbing the place. I might as well get some food. But it was still breakfast. It was the morning. Yeah. But apparently he made off with $600. Only $600 and a McMuffin. That's a sad steal indeed. You would expect... Well, why would you rob a McDonald's in the morning, right? Because, like, don't they have, like, the most money in the afternoon? I don't know. But he didn't use a real gun. Apparently it was just an air pistol, so that's good at least. At least he didn't put anyone in danger. And apparently he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Apparently his lawyer said that he was ashamed and embarrassed by his actions. This one's just kind of sad. This poor guy just wanted some money and some chicken nuggets. Well, I think I'm all newsed out. I can definitely say that again. Well, this has been the third Weird News Report. Signing off.